My new neighbor Karen wasn't just a headache. She was a full-blown Category 5 hurricane of entitlement. The day she moved in, her SUV blocked my driveway for 6 hours, and she waved off my polite request to move it with a, "Oh, honey, I'm busy unpacking." I should have known then that living next to her would be like signing up for a reality show called Surviving Karen. I'm Jake, a 34-year-old mechanic who's lived in this quiet cul-de-sac in suburban Ohio for a decade. My house is my sanctuary, small, tidy, with a backyard where I tinker with old car parts and sip coffee on weekends. Karen, though she rolled in with her McMansion vibes, stringing up gaudy Christmas lights in July and blasting karaoke at 2 a.m. But the real trouble started with the power. It was a sweltering August afternoon when I first noticed it. My air conditioner sputtered and died mid-cycle. I checked the breaker box, nothing tripped. Then I spotted an orange extension cord snaking from my outdoor outlet, over the fence, and into Karen's yard. I followed it, jaw tightening, to find her powering a massive inflatable bounce house for her kid's birthday party. The thing was the size of a small planet, and my outlet was wheezing under the strain. "Karen," I called over the fence, trying to keep my cool. "You're using my electricity." She barely looked up from her margarita. "Oh, Jake, it's just for a few hours. Don't be that guy." Her tone dripped with condescension, like I was the one being unreasonable. I unplugged the cord, handed it back, and thought that was that. Spoiler, it wasn't. The next week, my garage lights flickered while I was rebuilding a carburetor. Sure enough, another cord, this time powering Karen's industrial-grade leaf blower. Then it was her Christmas lights, then her kids' gaming setup during a sleepover. Each time, I'd unplug her, she'd huff, and we'd repeat the cycle. My electric bill spiked $80 that month, and Karen's response, "You're a mechanic. Jake, you can afford it." I started locking my outlet cover, but she'd pry it open with a screwdriver, leaving scratches and bent metal in her wake. By September, wish I was done playing nice. I installed a heavy-duty lockbox over the outlet and a security camera to catch her in the act. That's when things got wild. One evening, I caught her on camera, red-faced and wrestling with the lockbox, muttering curses. She gave up, stormed to her house, and get this, called the police on me. Claimed I was harassing her by denying her emergency access to power. Emergency, her karaoke machine wasn't exactly life support. The cops showed up, two officers looking as thrilled as I was to deal with this. Officer Ramirez, a no-nonsense guy with a buzz cut, listened to Karen's theatrical sob story about how I was sabotaging her family's happiness. I showed him the camera footage and my skyrocketing electric bill. He sighed, handed Karen a warning about trespassing, and told her to buy her own damn generator. I thought I'd won. Then came the twist. Enter Mrs. Delaney, the 78-year-old widow next door who'd been quietly watching this saga unfold. She hobbled over one morning, her cane tapping the pavement, and dropped a bombshell. "Jake," she whispered, "Karen's been siphoning my power too." I didn't say anything because she scared me into thinking I'd get in trouble. Mrs. Delaney's frail voice trembled as she described Karen bullying her into silence, claiming she'd report her for code violations if she complained. My blood boiled. Karen wasn't just a nuisance, she was a predator. That night, I hatched a plan. Karen's annual block party was coming up, the one she bragged about on the neighborhood Facebook group, promising epic decorations and a live band. I knew she'd try to tap my power again. She'd already asked to borrow it, and I'd said no. So, I rigged a little surprise. I connected a low-voltage zapper to the outlet. Harmless, but enough to give a jolt to anyone tampering with it. Sure enough, the morning of the party, Karen crept over, screwdriver in hand. The yelp she let out when she touched the lockbox could have woken the dead. Her hair looked like she'd stuck her finger in a socket, and her pride took a bigger hit than her hand. But Karen wasn't done. She doubled down. storming to my door with a new cord and a smirk. You think you're clever? Jake, I'll just use your outlet anyway. That's when I flipped the main breaker, cutting power to my entire house and hers. Since she was still plugged in, her band's speakers died mid-song, her lights went dark, and her bounce house deflated into a sad puddle. The party was a bust, and the neighborhood watched as Karen's carefully curated image crumbled. The real high noon came the next day. Karen, in full Karen mode, called the cops. Again, this time claiming I'd vandalized her property by cutting the power. Officer Ramirez returned, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. But this time, Mrs. Delaney stepped up. Shaking but resolute, she showed him her own security footage of Karen sneaking into her yard to steal power. The evidence was undeniable. Karen had been caught red-handed, not just by me but by the whole block, who'd started sharing their own Karen horror stories on the group chat. The fallout was glorious. The police issued Karen a formal citation for theft and trespassing. The neighborhood association banned her from hosting events, and her social media rants about toxic neighbors were met with a flood of comments exposing her antics. Mrs. Delaney, emboldened, started a petition to get Karen's illegal fence extensions removed, which the city enforced. Karen's yard, once a garish shrine to her ego, was now a stripped-down embarrassment, her decorations gone, her reputation in tatters. As for me, I got a new outlet with a biometric lock overkill. Maybe, but worth it for the peace of mind. My electric bill dropped back to normal, and Mrs. Delaney started joining me for coffee in my backyard, her quiet courage a reminder that even the smallest voices can roar when pushed too far. Karen, she's still here, but she keeps to herself now, her SUV parked firmly in her own driveway. What's your take on this? Ever dealt with a Karen who thought the world owed her? Drop your stories below. I'd love to hear them. The end.